For me personally, I would go into slumps. And I mean, I still go into it now, but I'm able to get out of it faster. Like I may have a bad day and then I bounce back later on that day or the next morning, it's gone. Before it would just linger and linger because I wouldn't set those periods where I would have to recharge. So it was, just work, 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 work. And if I had time to do something that I like to do, I would do it. But by that time, I was already built up and frustrated. I used to have 2 or 3 weeks, sometimes a month slump where I didn't want to do nothing. I didn't even want to get out of the bed. The main thing was I didn't take my self-care serious. Like what I would do is I would schedule work and then I would schedule the things that made me feel good around work, right? And once I got into the elite mastermind, it made me focus on myself first. So I started doing my self-care first, whether it's cryotherapy, or going to the chiropractor, or a massage, meditation. I would do those things first now. And now I schedule those things, and then everything else around it is secondary. So it made me just realize that, I was the important one. There's so much more I'm still trying to dive in. And that's what I told Marilyn. I said, there's still so much stuff that I haven't digested yet, but I'm going back and taking pieces of it until it's like almost like I'm putting a puzzle together. I know I have this part correct. Now I'll add the pieces around it because it's just a lot. Some of the my main breakthroughs were, one, to focus on a lot on certain breathing techniques that I didn't think that they were important, but now I'm just like, okay, you need to just calm down. You need to just breathe. And it was just techniques that I learned that actually helped me throughout the day. It helped me cope with the day, and just a community, everybody just sharing their struggles that they have, because in most cases we all have those struggles, but nobody really wants to, to talk about it. I went through the course with my wife, Marilyn, because in some cases, when you have a couple and one individual goes through it, they kind of outgrow the other person. If the other person is not involved in it, they don't, to them, it starts seeming weird, and then you want to get up and you want to meditate. You want to do this. We never did this. This is weird. He's changing. She's changing. And I'm gonna be honest, it's hard to see change in yourself, I think, because, you're used to it on a daily basis. But I see big changes in Marilyn. In some cases, I'm like, well, I think she grasped it a little bit more. Like she was ready for it a little bit more than I was, because I still was consumed with doing so many things. But I think it's important that if you have a significant other, that you take it with them, because one thing you don't want to do is you don't want to outgrow them. So I think communication, and then the things that I was lacking in that I can help her with, it was the vice versa. I would say, how did you get this? How did you do this? And so I think it's important that if you have somebody, to do it together, so you grow together. I think when you start to heal from within and you put out great energy, that you're here to impact people, to share and to serve, but in most cases we have to heal from within to be able to even see our issues that we have. Like one of the things that I discovered was the situation with my father. I work better with women than I do men, and I never understood why. Then I realized that growing up, my father wasn't there. I forgive him now, but my father wasn't there and he was abusive. So I looked at him as an individual that did not do what he was supposed to do as a man. And when I work with men, if they don't do what they do, I look at them as like my father figure. And that in most cases that would ruin relationships. And if it ruins relationships, then it ruins money. So I improved that. So I just think that if you start with healing yourself and just energy, period. Now I meditate a lot. I actually can feel the energy, and when I walk in rooms, I think people feel the energy, and when they feel that energy, they're going to want to interact with you. They're going to want to do business with you. So I think that if you take care of yourself, that it's just natural that the universe is going to reward you in different ways. Somebody's on the fence about joining the program. First and foremost, you have to understand that for you to improve, you have to have mentors, you have to join masterminds, because they cut the learning curve in everything. To be honest, I would have paid triple for somebody to teach me the things that I learned in the 90 days, because I'm 49 years old, and in 49 years I didn't learn that. Like with the tapping and everything, I'm like, what is that? Then I started realizing and seeing how impactful that is. So if you're on the fence about joining, I would say join, because one, you're going to get your money's worth. You're going to get a 10x return, 20x return on that, because it's going to make you better as a individual. And your business is an extension of you. If your life is chaotic, then your business is going to be chaotic. And it's funny, because our last company that we closed it down right at our peak year when we was doing 7 figures, because my life was chaotic. And then it rolled right over into the business. My business now, I kind of changed everything. I'm like, we're going to travel, we're going to do this, we're going to enjoy life, we're going to, become a better person, become the better me. And then my business is going to just be shaped around that. It's either that or it's nothing. So I would say if you're on the fence of joining, I would say pay double, because you definitely need this to just grow as a person. I was actually driving with a couple of my buddies when we was in Sedona, and we was going to see Ray. And a guy came up to the car. He was a homeless guy. He came up to the car, and Eddie, I didn't have no money on me. I usually give money. Eddie gave them money, and he said, "God bless." And the guy didn't say nothing to him. And he's like, "Well, thank you." And I was like, maybe he can't speak. And he just looked at me. He was like, "Wow, I never really thought about that." He said, that just changed my life. Looking at people, you don't know their situation. I could see me changing in a lot of different ways. Like I said, I'm 49, and I never, I watch videos on meditating and everything. And now, like, no matter, even if I get up late past when I want to get up, I'm going in that room and I'm spending that time to start my day off like that. It's a non-negotiable. I'm not doing it. Even if I'm running late, I'll make sure I get my 10 minutes in, 15 minutes in the meditation, and I turn my affirmation on, then I go in my direction. Just being completely transparent, I'm still probably on week 2 or 3, and I told Mary, I said, I have to go back, because I now I have the first process of that, the right side, the positive, the negatives, the change in your words, and the self-care, stuff like that. I have to go back until I could put all the pieces of the puzzle together. I definitely believe in manifestation. I could already see the beach house. One of my mantras that I work on when I meditate, it says, I am in a beautiful place. I am exactly where I need to be. I open myself to the universe and trust in the unfolding of my life. And I really believe that. So I tell myself, like, hey, you accomplished these things that you had set in your mind. And like for next year, my goal is to start speaking. So I already got invited to speak in Texas. Mike and them want me to speak on stage there. So I got people already reaching out to me. My buddy reached out to me about talking on TEDx and stuff like that. So I'm in the process of taking a speaking course and everything, because I speak how I speak. I'm not going to get up there and try to use articulate words that I can't understand. This is me. And I feel that there's so many people out there that are more like me, color-wise, tattoo-wise, that feel like, hey, I can never sit in a corporate room with billionaires and talk about those things, because that's just not me. And I'm like, it is. when I left Texas, I was sitting in the airport, and one of the goals that I put in the back of my mind is where I grew up in the Bronx. That's actually where my mother passed away. I held her in my arms in 1C when she died. I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna buy that building. That's all. That came to the forefront of my goals. It's like I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna buy that building, and I'm a, and I. It's funny because I'm sitting at the airport and I see myself standing in the building, in the courtyard, all of the tenants out there, and I'm telling them, hey, we're gonna help you do this. We're gonna help you with educating these kids from an early age. And I just seen it. Like I felt myself standing in the courtyard, and I already looked at the company that owns it, a hedge fund, and I think they bought it for like 8 million. I'm like, hey, I'll give you 20 million for the property. It has nothing to do with profit. My mother died in this building. I want this building. I grew up, this building made me, and I want to start from in there, just teaching the kids, that's like me, like, hey, like you can actually make it out. So I already started, redesigning stuff, like how you're going to help the kids, and that's really like my main focus now. But it had to start with me, and I'm a firm believer in that you can't change the current system when it comes to education and money. You have to create a new system where people are like, oh, you still doing that? Like, no, I'm over here now. You're not gonna. People think, oh, we're gonna change the banking system and everything. No, you're not. You're not. You got to create an entirely new system. So that kind of rerouted my chain of thinking and stuff like that. Matter of fact, when I speak, I already started writing out. I'm gonna have a picture of my mother's building. I definitely learned a lot. I recommend you everywhere I go, and I'll keep doing that. When I get on that stage, because I already see myself on the stage like Tony Robbins, and I'm going to pull you up and I'm going to give you the credit that you deserve.